I sincerely hope you two lovebirds haven't been doing what I think you've been doing.
I know what you think, but I know that your daughter has taught me many things just now. She has broadened my mind. She has helped me grow. When we just kissed for the first time just then, the endorphins that your daughter sent through my body were like dolphins swimming through my bloodstream. The way she has opened me up, she has penetrated deep inside of me, and I know that I have penetrated deep, deep inside of your daughter. And not like that.
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. Captain Fantastic is coming out on DVD, and as you probably know, I'm a big fan of the film. When it opened in cinemas, the reviews kind of concentrated on Viggo Mortensen's central performance. But actually, for me, the real standout in that film was George MacKay, of whom I'm a huge fan. We did a blog with George MacKay sometime last year when he had an independent film that he was talking about, and he was doing a stage show in the West End. Anyway, big George MacKay fan, so I thought this is a great opportunity to give you my top 5 George MacKay films. So, at number 5, Captain Fantastic. As I just mentioned, Viggo Mortensen stars. He's the father of a family that go to live their life off the grid in the woods. But for me, the most interesting character is George MacKay's character. He's the elder teenage son who's discovering life outside of the family's commune. He's longing for something beyond the confines of the world that his father has created for him. And there's this great tension between his character and Viggo Mortensen's character. It's beautifully played by George MacKay. I really like the film because it's funny, it's insightful, it's touching, and despite the outlandish subject matter, it's completely believable, not least because of the great performances.
I want kids someday. Not right now, of course, but when you're ready, when I'm ready, because I think this should be a shared decision. This is a decision that we should make together. But when you are ready, I will be ready. I am ready for you, if you will have me.
On to number 4, and something of a guilty pleasure, Sunshine on Leith. Now, this was described by some critics as McMamma Mia, which I think dismisses it far too easily. The fact of the matter is, it does have comparisons with Mamma Mia. It's built upon the songs of the Proclaimers, which I think are absolutely wonderful. But I think there's more to the film than that. The reason is, firstly, Dexter Fletcher does a really good job of directing it. He keeps its feet on the ground, although its head is in the air. He has a real sense of the place, of the characters. He gives them heart and soul. And secondly, George MacKay sings and dances like he's completely born to it. One of the things I love about him as a performer is that he's so versatile. He can do so many things. And in Sunshine on Leith, as I said, he's one of those people like Zac Efron, for me, who looks like they've actually studied their craft. They know what they're doing. They want to do the job properly. I love that film, and I'm not ashamed to say so.
If you have to go back to England, I'll come with you.
Really?
Really? I don't mind. Actually, it's not true. I would mind, but I'd still come.
Now, for number 3, a slightly controversial choice. The Outcast. Not controversial because people don't like it. People do. It got fantastic reviews. It's an adaptation of Sadie Jones's novel. However, it's controversial because it's technically not a film. It appeared on the BBC in 2 parts. It is a television movie. However, there was talk for a long time about it being cut down to be made into a theatrically released film because it was made as a long-form film. And I wish it had seen the inside of cinemas. Perhaps at some point in the future it will do. I remember a long time ago Samantha Morton made something for television that then a little bit later on did actually have a theatrical airing. I think The Outcast deserves it. Ian Softley is a fabulous director. He directed Hackers and Backbeat, many of my favourite films. And George MacKay is wonderful as the conflicted central character who is living in the shadow of the death of his mother and is somebody who tells us so much about the internal life of his character through the way he looks. A great performance by George MacKay, fantastic direction by Ian Softley. I want to see it in cinemas.
Yeah.
Please don't tell Dad. Please.
I promise. Just go.
At number 2, For Those in Peril. Now, this is a terrific kind of experimental drama about the sole survivor of a mysterious fishing accident in which many were lost, including the brother of George MacKay's character. George MacKay gives a wonderful, haunted performance, and there is fabulous support from the likes of Kate Dickie, of whom I'm a huge fan. What I really like about the film is it has a kind of poetic truth to it. It uses lots of different film formats. It's kind of experimental, it's kind of art house, but it's something which really gets under the skin of its characters. And weirdly enough, it opened in cinemas in the same week as not one but two other George MacKay movies, Sunshine on Leith, which I spoke about before, and How I Live Now. It's a fairly big budget fantasy adventure. It's one of those strange weeks when George MacKay was in three films, all completely different, all looking completely different, and demonstrating once again why it is that he's considered to be one of the UK's most versatile actors. Which brings me to the number one spot, and my favourite George MacKay film so far, because I'm sure he has many more masterpieces in it, but it is, of course, Pride, the story of lesbians and gays support the miners. It's one of those films that, when I started watching it, I thought this film is completely made for me. It's got politics that I agree with, it's got actors that I really love, it's got a soundtrack that I'm really, really enjoying. It's tailor-made for somebody with my particular predispositions. But what was great about the film was that it won over so many other people. It was a film which had real mainstream appeal, despite the fact that essentially it was dealing with a subject matter that not everybody would feel completely comfortable with. When the film aired on television just over Christmas, I got so many messages from friends that I had known in Manchester in the 1980s saying, "Did you see Pride? Didn't it just bring it all back? Wasn't it like being right back in the middle of that time?" And it was. But the genius of that film is that it takes that struggle to a whole new audience. People who have no memory of the miners' strike and Thatcher and all that sort of social unrest that happened at that time can watch that film and make sense of it, because it's charming and funny and intelligent and written with real heart and soul. And at the centre of it is George MacKay leading us through this voyage of discovery, the phrase that everyone likes to use, as his character finds out that there is more to the world than he had originally imagined. It's a wonderful film, it has a wonderful message, and a wonderful performance by George MacKay.
Hey, grab hold of this, will you, mate?
Oh, no, sorry.
Just for 5 minutes till my friends get here. Come on.
It's just that I don't really want to be too visible.
Was it your first Pride?
Yeah, first, anything.
Yeah, well, this is the best way, you need to throw yourself in.
The thing is I'm actually from Bromley.
Well, don't worry about that, we're a broad church.
So there we go, that's my top 5 George MacKay films. At 5, Captain Fantastic. At 4, Sunshine on Leith. Number 3, The Outcast, not technically a film, but hey. At number 2, For Those in Peril. And at number 1, Pride. So, what have I missed? I mean, MacKay's filmography is already really, really extensive, and he's so young. What did I miss out? What are your favourites? Let me know.
Claire. What's your last name?
McCune.
Claire McCune. Will you be my wife?